Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the Thursday night meditation group here at Sit.Feel.Heal. Glad you're here. And tonight I got my friend X going to be speaking to, a few different things, mostly around balance and, kind of riff on it. And I'll let X introduce himself in a moment. But I just want to let you all know, if you're brand new to the place, make yourself comfortable. The only requirement here is curiosity. So just you making it through the door, you've won, you made it. And we usually start with a little arriving meditation, and then we'll get into a talk and take a little break after the talk, a little stretch break, bio break, and do a little bit more guided meditation, probably about 20, 25 minutes. And then afterwards, there's time for questions, reflections. And any time throughout tonight, if you have a question or you want us to slow down in any way or speak to something, let us know. Sound good? Cool. All right. So let's just take a moment and arrive. So some people call this grounding, but I like this arriving, right? Like everything for me, I feel is just transitions. We're transitioning from out there to in here. Okay, we made it to the room. We feel our feet on the ground, the body in the seat. And especially if you haven't been in the room before, but even if you have, just letting your eyes wander around the room, just checking out your spot, letting the head move around. This does a lot for the nervous system. And you can leave your eyes open, resting your eyes somewhere. Just as long as it's not staring at someone, making it all awkward. Or gently closing your eyes. And just notice what's present. What's present from the day, the week, the year, this lifetime. Thoughts, emotions. Ooh. And maybe at the same time, you can bring to mind an image that maybe represents something peaceful or calm, maybe spacious. It could be a color, a texture, or an image of nature. Let that rest in the mind. And then again, just shifting awareness down to the feet, noticing the points of contact, and the body sitting. This whole back half of the body pressed into the chair. You've arrived. You might notice as we bring awareness to the body, there might be some aches, some pains, or some tightening. Maybe you can invite these places to soften. The usual places are like the face, the belly, the shoulders. And we notice the sounds in the room. We notice taste and smell. Seeing, even with the eyes closed, there's shapes, there's colors. And right here in the middle of each moment is this breath, just breathing. No need to change the way you're breathing. You just notice. You've arrived. And this is what this moment has to offer. There's thoughts, there's emotions, sure. It's probably going to be happening all night. But now you can remember there's also the feet on the floor. There's this breath coming in, going out. There's what we see and taste and smell. And maybe one of these places is a place that you can return. The gentle invitation of rest, for only for a moment, before the next thought takes you away. Next feeling kind of pulls you down. And when that happens, it's not a mistake. It's an opportunity to welcome yourself back home. And I invite you to bring your awareness back to the breath. And if you'd like to follow along, we'll do 3 breaths together. Just a transition here. So on the count of 3, you gently breathe in through the nose and just let the air fall out the mouth. So on 3, 1, 2, 3, in, let it go. Again, in, slowly in, and let it go. Really push it all out. Get all the air out. And again, slowly in like you're filling a balloon. Hold it at the top. And on the out breath, make some noise. Just letting the breath breathe on its own. And you hear the bell, remembering it's just a transition from inner to outer awareness. Slowly, gently. Totally meditated, bro.
I know.
Yeah.
I guess know what everyone had for dinner.
I'm kind of curious. What came to mind? Did anything come to mind for you when you think of something that represents calm or peace or spaciousness? Stillness? Okay, yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Forest, yeah. You were able to bring that to mind. Yeah. It's cool. Please.
Yesterday I was up on my property in Paradise, and behind me is the Feather River Canyon. It was full of fog.
Yeah. Beautiful. Nice. I love that. Please. Sound waves. Yeah. Vibration? Yeah. Soothing. Yeah. A lot of creative people here.
Yeah.
See that? See how the mind, it can be so creative and so powerful, right? And when me and X just met, like, I don't know,
The Felix Fest.
when was that show or that
It was
Felix Fest?
August.
July, yeah.
Yeah.
But X is one of these people that artist, musician, and a lot of things similar. But when we started talking, I noticed a depth. There was no talk about spirituality or anything that we do here, but I love meeting people like X that there is that without even it being said. You know, there's a spiritual depth here, and it's through art, through expression, through finding our ways, through some struggles, mostly struggles.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, you know, the things that we do and a lot of similarities. And one of the things that kept coming up, the topic of balance. And you know, even your the tattoo shop.
It's a tattoo comic book shop in Seaside, California. Sacred 8.
Sacred
Studios.
8, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even that name is a representation of balance or a meaning of balance.
Yeah. So like when you and I first met each other, it was at our dear friend who passed away, Felix Lozano. I grew up with him in King City. My mom used to babysit him, Stax, his sister, everybody. So born and bred in the hardcore punk rock scene, right? But when I got to meet people like Joe, I was mainly through being this dumb kid who would find old cassette tapes and, Memorex CDs that were scratched to hell and being like, Theory 66. And so I had taken some photos after performing and decided, hey, man, I would love to. We talked a little bit in the back when you and Stax were talking about just like peace and grief and stuff. And when we came here, it was you and Lauren where you guys were talking about stuff, and we just kind of kept going. And it's one of those conversations. I think, Matthew's here somewhere in the back, where there's just some people that when you speak to them, there's no effort in expressing who you are.
Yeah.
And I think with you, it was really nice because a lot of times people, like in the Japanese culture for like traditional Tabori, they have a belief of like everything in the universe has the number 8 in it. If it has balance in it, it has the number 8. You can go into vines, trees, clouds, water, everything down to a cellular level has some kind of form of 8. So when we, everything that I think most people hear, whether you're into music or you're into art or you're into cooking or, whatever it is you may be in, the illusion is that we have to get great at something. And then we have to like stay at that or be a failure. When in reality, when you speak with other people who, by and large, people think you are the antithesis of making it, or myself or whomever,
Whatever that looks like.
Whatever that looks like. Yeah. You talk to people and it comes down to this Japanese philosophy of you never will maintain centeredness. You aim towards that. The realness of that is maintaining the balance.
Yeah.
Right. I will never be too good or too bad. I'm fighting to just stay in the center. Yeah. But that fight makes it interesting. And so when we started talking about it, it was like, you doing good? Not really. Yeah. How about you? Never. Yeah. But today's a good day.
Yeah. I'd love to bring in Felix because it was a point for both of us of grief. There's like a heaviness to losing our friend.
Oh, yeah.
And in some sense, like, I feel like Felix was a part of our conversation. He's like, yeah, bro. This is what's happening. You two need to hang out. And for whatever that's worth, it helped me with the grieving process of one of my best friends. So just really appreciate that. And I like the topic of balance of mind in the Buddhist tradition, upekkha and equanimity is like a theme, right? It's like almost the everything of the dharma. Even that word is just like, I don't like the word. It just sounds too fancy to me. But really all it means is balance of mind.
Sure.
Right. And it's a balance, and it's not a stillness. Right. It's like a stillness flowing. And how we were expressing our struggles and our successes, that's where we find the balance.
Yeah.
And I feel like, most of us come in here and we're either looking for something or trying to get rid of something. That's how I came into the Dharma, into a meditation group. Is like, I either wanted to get some fucking peace of mind, or I just didn't want to be so uptight. And what I found is that it eased some of that, but it didn't get rid of any of it. I didn't get anything and I didn't get rid of anything, but I found balance within that. So through our practice of showing up, the equanimity, the balance of mind is here. And spoke to it last week, and we did a workshop on dealing with difficult emotions with the heart practices in the Buddhist tradition, the Brahma Viharas, and equanimity, the balance of mind, is one of the heart qualities.
Sure.
And I like that in the Buddhist tradition that these 4 abodes, or whatever words we want to use, these actually are innate heart qualities. And it's kindness, compassion, joy, and balance. Sometimes you can think of it as linear, where, okay, it's this focus on the kindness and the compassion, and then the joy is there, and then you find balance. But I don't think it necessarily needs to be that way. But I feel like it's just showing up for yourself in the big mess of it all.
Yeah. Like, may I ask to the crowd, contestant number 1, how many people here are some form of artist, whether you believe you are or not? Raise your hand. All right. Not bad, not bad. How many of you here are a professional artist? All right, less hands. How many here how many people here believe that they're capable of something, not even in art, just in general? Like most people can raise their hand. Don't be shy. Come on, you're not
capable.
that cool. But how many of you are happy here with those attempts? There's those hands, even to the people that I asked the previous questions, they change up and down, right? And it's hard because I think that most people at their core, like we were speaking earlier about the idea of balance, the idea of how you work through things and so forth. Like I have a really good friend here, Steven. He does a vegan donut place out over there. And there was somebody we used to know who came up to me and it goes, man, they see a large building, they see lights, they see flooring, they see all these things. They go, man, you do everything. You have it all, you know? And my father had passed the same time we just opened the place. And he was a huge inspiration for me, but also a huge hindrance. We had talked about that privately, you know? And the guy goes, you know, like, man, you never slow down. You just work. And I was like, you know, man, like the amount of grief I feel is the amount of work you see around you. And that started getting me onto one of the books I've been writing, which is called Grief Notes. You know, and I believe everyone here has grief notes. These are things that we try to run from, but show themselves every single time you're trying to do something. And I think when you're young, you really focus on trying to hide from the mistakes or the reactions that you make, when in reality, you need to run towards them and figure out that like who you were, what you did, or what you're trying to work on is never going to truly make you happy, even if you did fix them, because half of the hands in here would have been raised up twice as well. It's okay if you fucked up. It's okay if you're not where you want to be. That's not the point. Like you guys, or I should say, most of you here try to find centeredness, right? Like you're here to find where you feel okay. But anyone who's a professional at anything, or anyone who's just living, there is no such thing as center. It's a balance to find that center. And I feel like what people misconstrue about finding peace and balance is that they think I will reach the end of the road versus no, I will close a new chapter and take what I took from the last one and get another chance. Like you say, the balance thing earlier, and we talked about calling it like a recalibration. When people are like, oh, I lost my balance, their train of thought is I fucked up and I lost it. I got to start from zero. No, you didn't start. You didn't lose anything. You okay, baby? You know, you do what you do, girl. But in reality, it's like, no, you just got to recalibrate. And you're human. You're meant to fuck up. You're meant to be not okay about things, but you also have to be as equally ready to be okay about things and find those. The company you keep also is a reflection on the things that you reap out of that, you know?
Well, how would you recalibrate? Is there a tool? How do you recalibrate to find that balance again?
Oh, clearly fitness. No. Why is that funny to you? No, I think when I was young, when I was a poor young boy, I've been in tattoo shops since I was 14 years old, way before back in South County when that was not legal. Wink, wink. And I grew up in tattoo shops. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. And I was a very disciplined person when it came to my interests, but not to the relationships I kept. If you weren't part of the path, get the fuck out of my way. And the hardest part about living with someone like that is you think you're doing the right thing to survive when in reality, you're doing everything but that, right? And I think when I was younger, I started noticing when I got a chance to do my master's apprenticeship in Los Angeles, I got a chance to work at one of the biggest shops at the time down there for like realism. I went there and I was, you know, I lost my house, I lost my car, I lost my ex. I mean, the whole shebang, dude. All I needed to do was one apple pie competition and a Hallmark movie to make it better. And it never came. One day I was getting better. I was doing better. And then I noticed that I hit this wall where I kept being like, well, I'm only happy and I'm only better when I am miserable. I'm only better when I basically self-sabotage. And so it was like, well, if I could produce this much work and energy through negativity, what could I do if I was happy? This sounds like the lamest thing you're going to hear, but believe me, as a guy who loves comics, it makes perfect sense. The movie Monsters, Inc. Everybody thinks of it as a kid's movie, right? Absolutely. But the premise of the movie truly is that these monsters live off of hurting people, scaring things, and pushing them away because pain fuels their society and teaches them how to survive. And at some point, they find out that laughter and joy actually overloads the system and actually makes it better. And the entire antithesis of this damn movie, outside of I'm watching you, Wazowski, is like, if you were to find joy, how much more could you produce? So I think over the years, how I found a way to recalibrate was looking at myself and saying, what makes me happy in my art, in my endeavors, and in my social circle? And how do I not self-sabotage that?
Yeah.
And it took years to recalibrate, apologize to people, apologize to myself.
So I was going to say, how many friends did you lose on the way to find that joy?
I've only had 2 best friends since I was a little kid, and then a group of others that have been with me since day one. And to be honest, we were like the little rascals, but way shittier. And like, we all went around, and when they show you kids and when they blow a firecracker and it's like, and like their face is black and everything, we all kind of looked at each other like, you done being an asshole? You're all, yeah. That's kind of how you meet in the middle. But truth be told is some of the best portrait artists I've met, like classically trained painters, animators, and stuff that I did through podcasting and I did through education. I grew up helping at Dorothy's Kitchen with my parents. Like, I was always taught to like, I don't like fighting, but I do, but I will fight for the right reason. And then over the years, I tried to help with that. And I think that when it started coming to fruition that, oh shit, my entire life, I've fought the wrong people to find myself versus like, oh, maybe I can use people's help and try to heal people the way I was taught. Because punk rock and hardcore at its base, a lot of times, even the metal scene, no, bro, all for one. And you can't keep the scene alive if you can't keep each other alive.
It sounds like service was a part of that calibration and the joy.
Absolutely. I love helping people, but I hate people. And so it's like, your social battery runs out. But truth is I also think that the balance portion came in when I started, as I'm sure most of you have, you get to an age or a time or place where, my mother would say the universe is cruel and she's always attentive. You will meet the most dickhead version of yourself somewhere and you're like, God damn, I suck. You know what I mean? So I've met all ghosts of Christmas past and not one of them had a triple chin. And, but it humbles you because moving forward, can you sustain as Joe? Can you guys sustain? Can I sustain? I'm getting older and I find joy in those around me, what I do. And that takes so much energy that will drain me. But how I react to people is just as important as how I help people.
I love that. I feel like part of this is that, again, it's not the stillness. It's like this tornado a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
Right. It's like we find that balance. It's like the analogy that's coming to my mind is it sounds like it's a tornado in your life, right? But then somewhere you found a refuge. You found the eye of the storm. In every eye of the storm, what they say is there's calm and there's peace. Doesn't mean the shit's not popping off everywhere.
No. And I think like for you, if I can ask, like when we talked about this before, but like people see Joe and they think, oh, Fury 66 or this band.
Everybody knows that band.
Oh, sorry.
90s,
this guy's really famous. Bow down to the master. No, but the idea
never was.
But the idea of like people will listen to a 20-year-old man's grief and anger put into lyrics and be like, bro, that version of you is what I remember. And I think all people here in what you do in your personal and professional life, we have impressions that we leave on people that people kind of hold that as a standard. How do you deal with your balance when people expect 20-year-old Joe when now you're 50-year-old healing Joe?
It doesn't really show up in a lot of places. you know, it's like I said, that was a lifetime ago, you
Sure.
know, and anybody that does remember that stuff, it's just a lot of appreciation. And I know now how to just allow that appreciation to sink in and take it in, but not let it bloat either, because it was a pivotal time in someone's life. It impacted. It more shows up in relationships, especially when I got into spirituality, because Fury Joe, they even Joe Fury, they used to call me. I'm like, what the fuck? But a totally different person. So when I got into spirituality, it got really uncomfortable with my silence. I got silent because I didn't need to be a part of the, you know, the hustle, the talk, that I didn't feel like there was anything there, you know, just
Sure.
be quiet, you know, and then I'm an asshole because I'm being quiet. So there's a big misunderstanding of when we do get into practices like this, that there's a shift.
Yeah.
You know, there's more of a perspective. There's not a need to be a part of everything. So, you know, and people will bring up like, well, you used to, and shit like that. And it's like, well, yeah, that was 25 years old, you know? And, you know, relationships with band members now too. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to, I don't think I can sing the way I used to, especially that high and that fast. And
But they're like counterbalance.
oh my God, I'm super old.
And they're like counterbalances though, because like I feel, you know, they like in Egyptian mythology, they talk about how they weigh your heart. I think a lot of us do that to ourselves where, well, I was an asshole 3 times at Starbucks, but I was cool at Ace Hardware,
Right,
you know? And so
yeah.
because of that, we kind of ebb and flow what we believe is who we are.
Yeah.
When in reality, I think it gets harder the older we get, especially as people trying to find peace, people trying to find meditation and figure out who they are. Is like, I'm sure every single person, if I ask you 3, 2, 1, in your mind, think of the worst thing you've ever done and relive that over and over, right? That is grief. It is just the thing that you cannot live with. And you add 5 times the weight of that, even though maybe the past or the 20 years following, you've done such good things. And I think the balance truly is learning to take a step back, look at who you've become and be like, you know what? Yeah, that sucked, but look at the 5 or 6 other things I've done. And like, I'm proud of that. I have to be okay with who I am, you know?
Well, the path of finding out who you are is seeing all those parts that you're not first.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's the big one. It's like, oh, I'm not that, but there was a behavior or whatever it may be, you know. But I kind of like, there's something to this, like you're talking about joy. I really like that, because if we think of it like these heart practices, these innate qualities of our heart, joy is the precursor to balance of mind.
Sure.
So if we keep going, like where does compassion play a role? Not even compassion for others. I'm sure you have compassion for others, but where does it come for you in yourself? Compassion.
My father used to say a lot of stuff. Like my father was a man who immigrated from Mexico back in the day when he was alive.
You got an interesting story with your pops too, man.
Oh yeah, that dude was born in 1927.
Yeah,
Had me at 7 years old.
1927, y'all.
Yeah. So by the time homie was aiming for it, if you ever want to know about the twister in my life, the cows flying around are all 14 of my sisters. And I love them to death. But my father had these idioms, right? And the most famous one, these guys are going to roll their eyes because, you know, they know me. But one of his favorite sayings, I would try to show him something, be like, yeah, your boy did that. And he goes, well, the scale of 1 to corn dog boy, that's some hot dog shit. You know, and like he was never impressed. But a lot of the things that he would talk about, like whether it's joy or whether it's grief or anything, I feel like with the lessons that I try to get from joy, right, is the reason I like the term grief notes, or like the other book we're working on is called Deep Cuts. Now, anyone knows what that means. It's just behind the scenes. But if you put a comma and a punctuation on it, it means the things that cut us deeply. The way you punctuate the thing you're saying, the way you look or observe and restructure the thing you're looking at, alters the way that you understand what you're looking at. I can't change what had been done, right? So when my old man would be like, you know, path before pride, kid, a young man will burn every single path to prove he is prideful. And he will be left with nothing but a strip of road to walk on. An old man, if he is so lucky, will put all pride aside to keep many paths open. And, he was very honest with me at a young age that he wasn't going to be alive to see me become a man. So he was kind of giving me like the 101 ways to not be me. And somehow I didn't read that. And so the truth is, I think with joy, people think joy means I'm happy and I'm doing great. Joy is remembering somebody you truly fucking love and they're gone. They're never coming back. But every single time I do something, I laugh because my dad was like, boy, I can see the stupid on your face. And I'm all, how do you see stupid? And he goes, I'll look in the mirror. I'm all, damn. And so, I hear the things that make me feel balanced sometimes. The joy comes from loss. I don't know none of us know how to enjoy anything unless we've experienced not having it. That's why people in relationships are always like, I love you. I just can't stop cheating on you. And you're like, huh? Could you try not to? No. And then they leave and then they're like, but wait, I love you now. Grief and loss are as equal to joy in your life. And I think the hard part for most people is they don't want truly to be happy. They want to be comfortable knowing that it's there. So when you face true happiness or true grief or true something, you have to learn to let go and let it no longer burn a path, right? You have to just let go of your pride and say, shit, dude, I don't think I'm okay with this. I think I want to be better. Okay, then let's take it a step at a time. Old man had a lot to say. But I will say that my dad was funny because he would look at this and be like, why is everybody talking about their feelings? And then he would listen to Pedro Infante for 3 hours crying into a bottle. And I'm like, that sounds pretty serious, bro. But what he loved was one-on-one. And I think that's where us as individuals, we have to sit more with ourselves sometimes, trying to have that spiritual talk or that internal or that metaphorical, whatever you see it as. And then it's okay to speak to somebody else and then go back and forth. You as Joe and Sit.Feel.Heal meditation can't solve anyone's problems, but you can absolutely be there when they hold it when they need to.
Well, that's the compassion piece. And so that's this practice of compassion when we're talking about grief and discomfort. This practice is perfect for that because it's learning to respond. And sometimes the response is just allowing the heaviness of whatever's here, whatever the grief, the sadness, the longing. And within that, when we give it space, that's when, those fleeting moments of joy appear.
Well, that was thing. Sorry, ADHD up the bum. So if you need to tell me to snap back, go ahead. But what he would tell me all the time is he's like, you're going to hurt yourself a lot trying to help people. And it's okay. It's not going to feel okay. But he goes, if you want to survive in this world, you can have complete and utter sympathy. You can feel bad for what happens, but you cannot always have empathy. I feel bad for you. I can't do a fucking thing about it.
It's the empathy is different than the sympathy.
And he's coming from a perspective of if I can't feel my emotions, how can I understand yours? And so half of the time I think we put ourselves out of balance because we're trying to help people to better our day, when in reality, we don't even know how to do it for ourselves.
Well, that's codependency.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that what I have?
Yeah. It's you're hurting, especially if I care about you, you're hurting.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes me hurt. So I get to fix you so that I don't feel this way. It's this loop rather than, man, that fucking sounds gnarly, and just being with you.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
And a lot of times there's no answer, but there's just a process that can happen.
I'll
being witnessed.
I will tell this to anybody that I do paint seminars, right? I'll teach storyboarding or how to tell a lot of the hierarchy and storytelling. And I always tell students you will go home and you will drive home away from this and you'll think I'm really kind of on this little island where I don't know anyone who wants to heal the way I do, or they want to learn the way I do. And I say, ring-a-ding-ding, no. Look at them. I mean, everyone in here, you have to look around you. everyone here is at the same exact spot you are, trying to figure out where they're at. You don't have to be best friends. You can be great neighbors. And you're trying to figure out where you fit. Well, you have about 50 people in this room that want to fit alongside you. And it's like sometimes finding that ground to balance yourself is by leaning on the person to the left or right of you and saying, hey, thank you for just not making me feel stupid for being vulnerable. Like there's nothing wrong with the weakest kind of person is the one that can't admit that they're weak.
But there's strength in that vulnerability.
Absolutely. 100%.
It's in our culture. It's like a weakness, but it's not. There's such a strength in it.
Yeah,
You can really lean into it.
There's 15 of us. It's like my siblings and I,
Yeah.
and 14 girls and one boy. According to my father, there's 15 girls. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I know that story. I know that story. Well, with that, like with your art and in our art, like what we do, what can throw us off balance a lot of times is self-doubt or criticism, outside kind of things. How do we not let that chatter? Like, how do you not let that chatter get to you? Your own self-doubt, your own judgment.
Sure. Simple. I'm perfect.
No,
No.
I knew that.
What was the word you taught me over there? The center.
Oh, cheetah.
Cheetah. There you go. Can you explain what cheetah is?
Cheetah is heart mind. So, a lot of people, we think the mind is up here, but when we're talking about emotions, when you're talking about feelings, it's here. It's in your heart. So it's how we express. It's the heart mind.
Yeah. And so I feel like
you're full of cheetah.
Yeah. And but if you ask my wife right there, I'm full of cheetah.
You're full
yeah. And but realistically, I think people, I shouldn't say I think, I know people have a really hard time. They truly believe in the word criticism more than they do critique. A criticism is someone's opinion that adds no new value or any type of help to move forward. You don't have to agree with it, but it's like, you don't wear a white jacket. Why? But I don't explain it. That's the criticism. But a critique is something that is meant to help you. Even if you don't agree with it, it's trying to help you to further. And the hard
part, eating chocolate ice cream, you shouldn't wear that white jacket.
Yeah, there you go. See, yeah, see, we know. But the idea is like, most of the time when the higher you go in enlightenment or in art or any type of endeavor, you're going to meet more people, especially those who are disciples of a craft. Like you're devoted to what it is. If I'm happy, I create. If I'm sad, I create. If I'm busy, I create. If I'm tired of creating, I'll take some time and then create. It's what is in my blood. But being around more people like that, you're going to get critiques, and it is okay to be critiqued. But the cheetah is hard because most of us can think of somebody right now where the studio we have one of the biggest communities for people that come in from the artists and the designers and magic players and Warhammer nerds being like, that's my dragon. And like, they're
like Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, yeah. We call them Dungeons and Dickheads. And so like, these guys are awesome. But the hard part is I had this idea a decade plus ago of like, wow, this would be really cool to share with friends and people. But the people around me who had kind of helped me find where my path was when I was trying to heal also had the keys to my path, where it's like, well, if you're with us, you wouldn't want to leave, would you? And so no matter how much the internal part of me wanted to truly go out and try that new thing, a lot of time I mistook criticisms as critique. Yeah. Well, you want the best for me, right? Yeah. So why wouldn't I go and do that? And it didn't take till my wife and I almost lost everything yet again in a 3-year around the world tour. Like I was Gilligan, and just really looking at a chance where I had to just be me. And I think that the hard part with most people dealing with critique is that the honest critiques are going to show you every flaw you've never been comfortable with. And that's fine. May I ask somebody, if you feel so inclined, what do you think is the worst thing that you do in your craft that you think you should work on? Anybody? Everyone's that perfect, huh? You. Perfect. Yeah, something as simple as that. Like, you'll find somebody who probably is really good at that and that you trust. And then the hardest thing is a person that, even though it may be something that really accentuates what you're good at, that person helped you learn the camera and would be like, I would never do that. Don't ever try that. And that's hard, right? Because you think, well, they wouldn't steer me wrong. So the cheetah, I think, comes from stepping outside into the world, meeting individuals like yourself. I've known your music longer than I've known you, but I've never got to meet Joe the way I have until the passing of a friend, and how much closer it's been, because what tells me what I should listen to now as an older man and what tells you to listen actually meets the middle. So like, how do I get past basically like artist block? Half is I can't afford to. I take care of my family, my sister, my wife and my sisters and my family all have everything to do. Like, we all take care of each other. But if I don't work, I die. Anybody could say that, right? But it's rough. But then who I work around changed. Everyone around me has to be of a caliber and a mindset where some guy taught me this, and he says, I don't want to work around anybody who doesn't say good morning or good night. Then we'll talk about the rest. After that, it was good morning, good night. How you doing? Good, man. Hey, really quick. I've been drawing this for 12 hours. Tell me I suck. And I'm well, the tiger's paw doesn't look normal. He goes, that's a koi fish mode. Okay. That's a bigger problem. So you would be around people where they were never afraid of being wrong.
Yeah.
Which goes back to the last thing I'll say, which is something that my parents did push on me, which was never aim to be a person who is right. Be correct.
Yeah.
For a person who is right does not need any information. They made up their mind. So a person who's correct will always change their opinion based on fact and new information. So how do I get through stuff? I stick around people who critique me, don't criticize.
Yeah.
That always make sure that I'm at my best, and they don't want to ever be right.
Yeah.
They're there to be correct and help correct who I am.
Yeah.
I can't afford to not be better because I've built a garden that only cultivates better. And if I want to kill it, I know what that life's like when I was a young man.
Yeah. It sounds like this is such a passion. The art is such a passion. It's like something that's just a part of you. But when it becomes our profession, how do we find balance in that?
Ooh, that's really good. One of the biggest things, because like I do videography, photography, I've played music most of my life, I've tattooed for this time. And you would think like, oh man, what a renaissance man. But truly is like my ADHD gets bored of things so severely. So I put enough things into storytelling and the way that I appreciate stuff to where now I'm audio archiving my entire art library for free. I'm reading them out. I'm all chapter 1, the life of Joe Clements, So, I mean, I like having fun with stuff, but in all reality, I don't get to create a fucking thing for myself that I don't get to fully enjoy because I'm at the beck and call for others.
Right.
That was my mindset for years. And then over the years, I started seeing photographers. It's flow season. It's time. We can't do the portraits. No one's getting married. We're not Cinderella, honey. And then you'd see tattoo artists, it's low season, man. I was getting tattooed for like 3 to 5 months. You have all the time in the world. Your job's art, paint. You literally can just paint for 5 months. All I'm hearing is you have time to be a better you, improve. So I think in that time, I met people like yourself and others in the crowd where somebody kind of shifted this mindset where they said, hey man, there's cooks out there. And there's artists and there's people that you all have a favorite restaurant somewhere in town or a favorite pop-up or something. And you will go out of your way to see their availability, and you will wait in line and you will find what you can get and you will be happy with what it is. And if you're not, that person will absolutely help you out. If at some point you must suffer publicly and professionally to be beneficial personally. And so I did that for years. And now I don't have a slow season. I don't have to fight for bookings. There's no time or part of the year I'm not busy. And that's not like a tout. It's that at some point, like this gentleman and this person right here, thank you, where like it's hard because as creative types, you want to help people, but you don't want to lose yourself
Yeah.
in any endeavor. So if I have to suffer financially to become better personally, then it's an investment into what makes me happy.
Yeah.
And I kind of really focus on just being a better me, not a better what you need from me.
Yeah. I probably should kind of wrap this up
Sure,
in a
sure.
little bit here. So
Sorry, I talked to
get to the real deal of the meditation where we actually experience stuff, but kind of not wrapping up in a bow, but feeling like with joy and the compassion, and you just touched on it, is kindness, you know, self-kindness or loving kindness. What's a way that you feel like that your practice or your art is an act of kindness, of self-kindness that helps you find balance?
Honesty. Complete and utter honesty. When I said earlier that like I can be super sympathetic but no empathy, right? I don't say that because I can't be kind or patient with somebody. But the more you do in life, in any endeavor, those people here that maybe just you're really close to your family, and if you lend out too much money, you become the one person nobody needs $10 from. You know, like you have to be careful with how much you give of yourself when you're trying to figure out how you're still healing, right? So like my kindness is endless.
Yeah.
My compassion goes far, and my empathy, it runs deep. But my understanding of who and what deserves it at the time is much sharper. My happiness and my kindness are as important to me as the company I keep, right? So there's going to be somebody who will come up to me and be like, man, I love everything you do. Can you give me something for free? And I'm like, sure, I guess. But then there's somebody who will come to you where you'll see a version of yourself. I think the universe brings that to you, where you're going to be around someone and they're going to look at you the way you looked at somebody else, and it's going to really test you. So you think you've done better? Show me. In a moment of anger, you're going to have to show forgiveness. In a moment of frustration, you're going to have to show patience. And in a moment of hurt, you're going to have to show resilience. Kindness comes through the things that we deal with ourselves and having to say, no, I don't want to live that life anymore. And you kind of learn more patience than kindness. I think kindness really is just a better form of patience.
Beautiful.
There is a difference between change and growth. Everybody in the world changes, but there's no growth in that. But when you grow, you will see nothing but change, but it is a better version that is the old and the new where you need it to be. And if people don't accept where that growth is, you may have outgrown those people to begin with. And that is absolutely okay as an artist or as an individual, and never be ashamed of that, like whatsoever. And I breathe really loud on this thing.
He did.
I'm winded. I can't keep looking cool, man. Fuck.
So before we take a break, what's something that you hope that people will walk away with?
Some amazing merchandise from Sit.Feel.Heal in the background. Honestly, I think what I would love to see people, sorry, man, I'm messing up your thing. What I would love to see people walk away with here is honestly and realistically knowing that when you go home, get in your car, and you have that moment after every gig, after every meditation, after every restaurant, or, you know, everybody's like, I love the way your shoes look, honey. They're beautiful. What the fuck was he wearing? You know what I mean? When they're in their car. But what I think is that's very specific. But I think is that I would love people to walk away with this, knowing that in the things you are trying to work on, not necessarily fix, you absolutely are not the only one, and you're not alone, no matter how much you think you may be or not, whatever it is. And if you weren't meant to be doing what you're doing now or something better, you wouldn't fucking be here, right? Like something brought you here and it's trying to work towards something. The thing that you're working towards is going to mourn and grieve the person fighting today, and enjoy it. No path is fucking easy, but you clearly can walk it because you're here now. And that's absolutely part of the process.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, X.
No worries.
So we'll take a little stretch break. All right, yo. So as we settle in, and I really, appreciate you all and the warm welcoming and attentive listening to my friend. And I feel like it's important for us to just have these kind of conversations from different folks, whether you have a deep spiritual practice or not. There's spirituality in everything. And when you come here on Thursday nights, it's a drop-in group, and it's a place for you to just try it on. So tonight, just try this practice on. If you already have a deep meditation practice, do your thing. If you're sort of new, offer some guidance. And I guarantee you're not going to fuck it up. And I guarantee you the mind is going to think. You're going to feel squirrely. You're going to feel wiggly. And you can just allow. And we'll just take this moment right now to not begin anything, but just transition. This, again, that transition from connecting with folks, listening to these two goofballs up at the front of the room, and just noticing any energy that's alive. We spoke to this word chitta, this heart mind. This is where we experience all the emotions. Maybe there's something alive here right now from connection, from just being here tonight. Or maybe it has nothing to do with anything that's going on right now. There's thoughts, there's feelings that are swirling. Can be that tornado. And how we find the eye of the storm is just by shifting focus, shifting awareness to our direct experience of what else is happening right now. Thoughts are happening, feelings may be happening. And we're just shifting here, shifting our awareness to how else are we experiencing each moment. And it's through our senses. So this sensation of touch, just feeling the way the body's connecting with the chair, the floor, feet, the seat. Let the curiosity follow here. What do you notice? Do you notice a pressure in the seat, the sock, the shoe, the connection to the floor? Can you allow yourself to be held, trusting that this chair, this floor, this earth, totally capable of holding you? And let yourself be guided. There's nothing you need to do. Nowhere you need to go. Nothing you need to fix or figure out right now. Because there's no better you that you need to be or become. And we just notice effortlessly this body sitting, temperature on the skin, hands resting. Maybe visiting those spots that hold all the tension from the day, from the life. The shoulders, the face, the belly. Inviting these places to soften, be held. We notice this breath. Lifelong friend, the breath, just breathing. No need to change the way you're breathing, just notice. This is where the breath is coming in. This is where the breath is going out. The breath can sometimes be helpful. And we guide the breath into these places that feel a little tight or swirly. Create some space in the in-breath. Soften on the out-breath. We notice the sounds. These sounds coming and going. Outside the room, inside the room. We have stories connected to what we hear. If we just label it sound, notice the coming and going. We can also notice the silence, the space in between. As we invite ourselves and we invite the mind to just rest. Maybe it's on the breath. Maybe it's something you see, a sensation you feel, you can connect with, even just for a moment. You get to choose. Even that thought that pulls you away is part of the practice. That feeling that's getting you a little stuck is part of the practice. Because when you notice that, that's the moment of practice. Practicing returning, letting go by just letting be, softening the grip, and returning to the feet, the seat, the sounds. That invitation to rest. And just like those sounds, these thoughts have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And sometimes we can notice the space in between. And this is the place that we find this balance. This balance begins by just noticing. You can even notice the mind's habits, reaching for pleasure, pushing away pain, drifting in the in-between. Without judgment, we just notice. And then soften into what is already here. The stability underneath it all, the balance, the breath, the body. this presence itself. There's not a doing, it's just a noticing. And we notice what we might be searching for right now. Steadiness, clarity, ease. These aren't things that need to be earned. They're here in this moment. As soon as we stop fighting our experience, and we can rest in this simple awareness, feet, seat, sounds, and breath. And let yourself rest in this awareness itself. The simplicity of just noticing, not having to balance anything, not controlling anything, but allowing things to rise and pass, just as the breath comes in and goes out. And if you haven't already, you can even let go of the guidance. Let go of the practice. And just notice. What do you notice about your mind's way of relating to discomfort, pleasure, or the in-between moments? Do you notice a grasping, a pushing away? Again, without judgment, just noticing. And what's something right here, right now, that can support you in feeling a little bit more balanced? If the mind wants to rest, let it rest. If the mind wants to wander, let it wander. And if the body wants to rest, let it rest. Or if the body needs to move, let it move. And as we come to a transition here, we can reflect on how balance of mind isn't a finish line. It's a relationship with our pain, our pleasure, and everything in between. And the more we show up right here, the more we practice meeting ourselves and our lives honestly, the more we realize the steadiness we're searching for has been here all along. And as I ring the bell in a couple moments here, really taking it as an invitation to transition from inner awareness to outer awareness. Doesn't have to be an ending or a beginning, just a transition from one moment to the next. You can do this on your own time, slowly, gently. There's no rush. Thank you all for your practice, your awareness. You know, we don't have a lot of time for questions and reflection, so I was just wondering if you're going to be around afterwards.
Sure.
A little bit.
Yeah, I just wanted to say really quick.
Mhm.
I hope I didn't waste anyone's time. I feel like I'm really much better like in smaller groups. But I was reflecting during the meditation about like I came here once. I tried it for 15 minutes and my ADHD immediately started hearing people breathing and I was starting like, oh, I could draw that. You know what I mean? Like my brain doesn't sit well with it. But one thing I notice is like I see how many people when you're speaking during the conversation, like a lot of you have these faces of like trying to listen or you're not sure or you're trying to understand. And then when you go into your meditative state, you see a lot of like half of your faces, like they're smiling or they're focused or there's something. And yeah, man, I wanted to say thank you to you.
Mm.
And I'll be here if anyone wants to talk about anything, I guess. But I also want to say thank you to all of you out there because it's cool. Just as much as Joe just asked a random chump to come and speak for, an hour, I'm trying to find peace in my life too. I think just like you guys are. The difference is we're just in different chairs, right? And it's people like yourselves, places like these, instructors like yourself that kind of make you think like, wow, cool. I'm on the right path. I'm around the right things. And I think you had asked me earlier again, like what to leave with what something is. And I think I would reformat that too. You don't need anyone's fucking permission to be okay.
Yeah.
Like you don't need anyone's permission to be okay. So I hope all of you guys keep supporting Joe, each other. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. Man. Yeah. And that goes for you too, man.
Oh yeah. Keep supporting me.
Yeah.
And no.
And I hope I did fuck you up and introduce mindfulness meditation into your life now.
Yeah.
Now you're a meditator.
Sweet.
You're welcome.
I was a different type of N word, but we won't use that one.
But I just want to thank you and check out Brushes of Doom.
Yes, sir.
It's X's podcast, and you can follow him on Instagram and all those kind of things.
Yeah,
It's Brushes of Doom.
If you're interested in the studio, it's at Sacred 8 Studios. Myself, I go by Brushes of Doom. If you're interested in the free art podcast stuff that I do, it's kind of a art meditation version of it. It's called the Script and Wax Social Club or the Sacred Society podcast, but I don't think I would really want to push that because there's bad words there. So yeah, you guys are
We're used to that. They're used to that with
Yeah.
me and my random
Yeah.
comments.
Pumpernickel.
So, peace out. Thank you.